Cassidy sat in her apartment on a quiet Sunday morning, staring out the window with a cup of coffee growing cold in her hands. The rehearsal dinner had ended 2 nights earlier, but she couldn't stop thinking about the look on her mother's face when the truth came out. It wasn't satisfaction she felt. It wasn't revenge. It was something much quieter. For the first time in her life, her family had been forced to see her without the assumptions they had carried for years. She didn't know whether anything would truly change. She wasn't sure it could. Monday morning arrived like any other workday. Before sunrise, Cassidy unlocked the front doors of Aldridge and stepped inside the empty dining room. The restaurant was peaceful before the guests arrived. Sunlight filtered through the tall front windows, reflecting off polished glasses and neatly arranged tables. The silence reminded her of the early days when she had been the first to arrive and the last to leave every single night. Back then, she had washed dishes, answered reservation calls, balanced payroll, cleaned bathrooms, and negotiated with suppliers, often all in the same day. Nobody saw those years. People only noticed success after it became visible. Odette was already reviewing the reservations when Cassidy walked into the office. "You survived family weekend," Odette said with a smile. "Barely." Odette handed her a folder. "There's something you should probably see." Inside were several newspaper clippings and online articles. One local business reporter had somehow learned that the owner of Aldridge had quietly hosted her own brother's rehearsal dinner without revealing her identity until the middle of the evening. The story had spread quickly across local business websites. Most articles focused on the success of the restaurant. Others praised the calm and respectful way Cassidy had handled the situation. She sighed. "I never wanted publicity." "I know," Odette replied. "But sometimes people find inspiration in the truth." Before Cassidy could answer, her phone buzzed. The caller ID showed her brother. She stared at the screen for several seconds before answering. "Hi." There was a brief silence. "I wasn't sure you'd pick up." "I said we should have dinner." "I know." Another pause followed. "I've been thinking about Friday." "So have I." Court took a slow breath. "I owe you an apology." Cassidy remained silent. "I honestly didn't know." "I believe you. I knew Mom criticized your career. I knew she wasn't supportive, but I never realized how much she dismissed everything you accomplished." His voice sounded different, not defensive. Just honest. "I should have paid more attention." Cassidy leaned back in her chair. "You weren't the one making those comments." "No, but I benefited from them." Neither of them spoke for several seconds. Finally, Court asked softly, "Can we start over?" Cassidy smiled to herself. "I'd like that." They agreed to meet the following weekend. After ending the call, she returned to work. For the next several days, life slowly settled back into its normal rhythm. Lunch service remained busy. Private events continued filling the calendar. New reservations arrived faster than the staff could process them. Late Thursday afternoon, Portia approached Cassidy with an uncertain expression. "There's someone asking to speak with you. Who is it?" "My mother." Cassidy looked toward the front entrance. Her mother stood quietly in the lobby. She wasn't dressed for an event. She wasn't wearing her expensive pearls. For the first time in years, she simply looked like someone's mother. Nervous. Unsure. Cassidy walked toward her. "What brings you here?" Her mother looked around the dining room before answering. "I wanted to see it." "You already have." "I mean really see it." Cassidy nodded. "Come with me." She gave her mother a private tour. They walked through the dining